They accidentally emptied my account for my sister's loan and called it a family sacrifice. My dad said, I mixed up the accounts. It was a simple mistake. My mom whispered, we thought you would understand. I requested the bank footage. It showed all three. I said nothing. I just quietly reported it, froze the accounts, and locked access. That evening, my mom called 17 times. My sister texted, we're family. I smiled in. It started with a group text. Family dinner Sunday. Casual. Just us. Just us. As if I wasn't already suspicious of any message that involved food and familial proximity. The last time they said, just us, I ended up footing a $600 sushi bill and getting blamed for making my sister's boyfriend feel emasculated because I asked him what he did for work. But sure. Casual. I showed up 5 minutes early. Rookie mistake. The house was already buzzing. Cars lined the curb like it was a garage sale hosted by Anthropology. My sister's new Audi sparkled under the streetlight, parked like a trophy on the driveway. She doesn't work. Not in any traditional, income-producing sense of the word. I walked in. No one looked up. Hey, I said. My mom turned from the kitchen. You made it, she said, tone neutral. Not warm. Not cold. Just factual, like announcing cloud cover. I said 7, she added, looking at the microwave clock. It was 6:56. Do you want to leave your shoes by the back entrance? My dad asked from the couch, not looking at me. The back entrance. You know, the one next to the laundry and the old dog bowls. I took a breath. Sure. The living room looked like a catalog for emotionally repressed wealth. Neutral tones. A glass vase of eucalyptus on every flat surface. My brother-in-law was sipping from what looked like a whiskey glass, but had lemon water and probably the tears of whoever they hired to stage this casual get-together. They were already seated when I entered the dining room. 10 people, 3 candles, for place cards with names in metallic cursive. My name was not one of them. I stood there, waiting for someone to notice. My mom glanced up. Oh, we didn't know if you'd be joining for dinner. We made extra, though. Made extra. Like I was a maybe. Like I was an afterthought. Like a baked potato no one ordered, but figured they'd microwave just in case. I smiled. Should I sit on the floor or? My sister laughed. Oh, come on. We saved you the seat near the kitchen. You'll be right next to the wine fridge. Technically accurate. Also next to the trash bin. Also closest to the swinging door they kept bumping with their hips. I sat. The chair creaked in protest. Then it came. My dad leaned over mid-bite. So, how's your account doing? Still investing in that? What is it? Index something. I nodded. Index funds. Yes. He chuckled. Good. Because you know your sister's loan is up for renewal. Maybe you two can chat after dinner. Family helping family, right? My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. No one else blinked. My mom passed the salad. My sister poured herself another glass of sparkling cranberry like this was just a Tuesday. I said nothing. I just smiled. Because silence, I've learned, is where the power hides. After that dinner, I started remembering. Not just the evening, the whole thing. Every small sure, why not that stacked into a financial system where I was the only one putting in money and everyone else just knew where to find the ATM. It started with a phone call. Sweetheart, my mom said, that voice she uses when she's about to ask for something but wants it to sound like a favor to me. We started a little family safety net. Just something small. Everyone's chipping in. Everyone. Which, in my family, meant me. I sent $2,000. Told myself it was a gesture, not a habit. 2 days later, she texted me. We opened a shared account. For simplicity. From then on, I was basically the family's invisible payroll system. Monthly. Quiet. No reminders needed. I paid my sister's tuition. $6,042 per semester. My name was on the student portal. She never asked how it got there. I covered her rent. $1,400 a month. Plus $3,100 move-in cost because she said the apartment gave her bad vibes until she upgraded the lights and bought a mattress that came in a designer box. She once messaged, I didn't have time to set up renter's insurance. Can you just Venmo it? I did. $382. No emoji. No thanks. Then there was the car. A 2008 Toyota Corolla. Mine now, apparently. I found out when I got the parking ticket in the mail. She had, accidentally, put it under my name when renewing registration. Her explanation, I thought it was still your old one. They must have used saved info. Dad needed a new TV to relax his nerves. $799. 65-inch. He said, At least you'll have something decent to watch when you visit. I paid for their anniversary dinner. $620. They said they'd cover the next one. There hasn't been a next one. They went to Disneyland to reconnect as a unit. I paid. My souvenir was a fridge magnet that said, "Family is forever." I started seeing odd charges. $780. Mind plus Body Healing Center. I asked Mom. She said it was for her personal yoga coach. My spine's been tight. $1,200. Life coaching sessions for my dad. He said it was for redefining his legacy. $390. Costume rental. Unicorn suit. For my nephew's birthday party. $149 per month. Subscription wine box. When I asked, she said, "I don't drink it. The bottles are pretty." I started to realize I wasn't helping. I was funding. When I brought it up, they acted like I was ruining the vibe. Dad. Well, someone has to be the adult in this family. Good thing it's you. Mom, you've always been so generous. We're proud of that. Sister, I'd help too, but my credit card's frozen. There was never a thank you. Just the implication that my success was community property. Then there's the one I never forgot. I was 14, won a science award, got my picture in the local paper, brought it home. Dad looked at it and said, "You think you're better than everyone now?" I didn't answer. He added, "You might be smarter, but you'll never be stronger than me. Remember that." He never congratulated me. Not then. Not ever. So when I saw the $12,000 transaction for loan payment, I wasn't shocked. Just tired. I called him. "What's this?" "Oh," he said, like I caught a typo. "That must have been a mix-up. I meant to use our account. It was for your sister. She needed help with her loan." Mom in the background. "We thought you'd understand. It was already done. And it's for family." I said nothing. That night, I requested all account activity and bank footage. Next morning, I froze the accounts. No warning. No call. At 9:04 p.m., my phone started buzzing. 17 missed calls from Mom. My sister texted, "We're family." I replied, "That's exactly why I needed to set boundaries." Then I turned off notifications and went to sleep. I watched the bank footage like people watch horror films. Leaning in, eyes dry, knowing the monster's about to pop up and still somehow surprised when it does. There they were. My dad in his Navy windbreaker that he swears is just broken in, not old. Mom with her oversized purse, the one she calls timeless, digging through it like she's looking for her conscience. And my sister, in faux designer sunglasses, inside, scrolling through her phone with the intensity of someone booking an Airbnb for a weekend she isn't paying for. They were at the counter. The banker smiled, clearly briefed. Papers were passed around. My sister signed first, like she'd done it before. Then Dad leaned over and said something that made all three of them laugh. I rewound. He won't care. He's stable. He's always been reliable. He doesn't mind helping. Mom added, he always helps. That's what makes him the good one. Sister, exactly. He should be proud we trust him with this. Trust. Like redirecting $12,000 from my account without my consent was a love language. I paused the video. Sat back. Let silence do the screaming. That evening, I logged in. Transferred every cent from the shared account into a new one. Requested a full hold. Changed every password. Blocked their devices from login. It took 11 minutes to erase 3 years of just helping out. At 8:43 p.m., my phone lit up. Call from Mom. Decline. Another. Then another. 17 in total. No voicemails. No messages. Just panic dialed into digits. At 9:06 p.m., I got a text. "Mom, you've ruined everything. Why would you do this to us?" At 9:14 p.m. "Sister, you're disgusting. We're family. You're supposed to be there. Always." I turned off notifications. Made dinner. Ate pasta I actually tasted for once. Slept so well I didn't even dream. 7 days of silence later, my phone rang again. Dad. Just his name. No emojis. No group chat context. I answered. "Curiosity is a dangerous thing." "You busy Saturday night?" he asked. "Why?" "There's a fight. Middleweight. Big one." I figured. It's been tense. Maybe we just watched 2 other guys beat each other senseless. I let the silence stretch. "Like men do," he added, trying to sound casual. I said yes. I wanted to see what guilt looked like on him in fluorescent lighting. We met at a local bar. The kind that smells like cheap ketchup and failed promises. Sticky floors. No menus. just laminated regrets. He was already halfway through a Bud Light. Didn't stand up when I came in. Just nodded at the seat. We watched in silence for 5 minutes. Two men on screen circling each other. Fists up, mouths shut. Then he said, "You know I envy you." I blinked. You got the money, the job, the calm. I spent my whole life reacting to bills. You? You make plans. I said nothing. Just took a sip. I want to live, he added. Not like that. Not hand to mouth. Just once. To feel what it's like not worrying. Still nothing. I thought maybe, now that you're in a position, maybe it's your turn to take care of the family. I looked at him. Straight on. You want me to fund your lifestyle? He shook his head like a tired coach trying to explain a loss. Not fund. Carry. With dignity. With respect. We stared at each other. Long enough for the screen to shift into commercial. I lifted my beer. To honesty. We drank in silence. Him, relieved. Me mourning a man who wasn't dead, just permanently unreachable. We didn't talk after the bar. He probably thought a couple beers and a half-hearted confession would wipe $12,000 off his conscience. But guilt isn't a credit card. You don't get to just swipe and hope for forgiveness. So I opened a new chat. No emojis. No greetings. Just a title, clarification. And then I started sending facts. I renamed the group chat Clarification. Capital C, no emoji. It sat there like a loaded weapon in my phone. I didn't say anything. No opening line. No, hi. Just 3 files. The first was a PDF bank documentation of a second checking account opened in my name. Except it wasn't quite my name. Middle name, Nathaniel. I don't have a middle name. Never did. But apparently I do now when it's time to steal. The address matched mine. The signature didn't. The second file was a screenshot. An email from HR at my job. Confirming receipt of your bonus. Funds deposited into the account ending in -2,410 as requested via signed instruction. I had never requested that. The third message wasn't a file. Just one line. Just wanted to confirm who filled this out on my behalf. Then I locked my phone, put it face down. Went to boil water for tea I didn't want. 10 minutes passed. Nothing. Then, sister. Wait. That wasn't me. That was Dad's idea. 2 dots. Then 3. Typing. Stopped. Typing again. Mom. We didn't mean harm. We thought you wouldn't find out. We just needed space. A bit of breathing room. Dad. Read all messages. Said nothing. I waited. Then sent one more file. The police report. Formal. Signed. Attached under the file name. Already submitted .pdf. Caption. Just keeping you informed. Then I muted the chat. No reply. Not one. 3 hours later, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting food. And I don't have friends who do surprises. It was her. My grandmother. She stood on the porch in that coat she's worn since the Bush administration. Same brooch. Same calm face that had outlived 2 husbands for family betrayals and a fire in her kitchen that she put out with baking soda and prayer. I let her in. No words yet. She sat down at my table like she had every right to be there. And to be fair, she did. I heard what happened, she said. I nodded. I know your father was wrong. I'm not going to argue that. But she looked down at her hands. He's still my boy. I didn't respond. Not out of spite. Just because I had nothing left to spend. Not even syllables. I'll cover the amount. All of it, she said. I'll cash out the bonds. You withdraw the complaint. Still silence. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folded envelope. Thick. I've done it before. Covered for him. You were too little to remember. I stayed quiet. I think I knew where this was going. I used to go hungry so he could eat, she said. Sold my wedding band to pay off his first car loan. Took out credit cards to clear his debt. I spent Christmases hiding from collectors. She paused. Then, quietly. And he never said thank you. Not once. A memory hit me like a slap. Me, 5 years old, sitting at her tiny kitchen table. She was making soup, barely. Water, salt, 2 potatoes, and dignity. She gave me a full bowl. And she ate crusts of bread soaked in tap water, pretending it was what she wanted. Dad stormed in, furious. Where's the PlayStation, Ma? You said you'd figure it out. He was holding the keys to the brand new bike she bought him on layaway. I'm working on it, she said. You always say that. You're useless. He snapped, then slammed the door. I remember asking her, Grandma, why don't you eat? And she smiled like it was a magic trick. I already did, sweetheart. You just didn't see. Back in my apartment, present day, she was crying. I'm not asking you to forget. Just don't let him fall. Not like this. I walked to the counter, poured her a glass of water, sat down across from her, looked her in the eye. You did everything you could. He didn't care then. He won't care now. She bit her lip, said nothing. I finished. This time, let him find his own way out. I'm not fixing it for him. She looked at me, long, then nodded, once, deeply, and stood up. No hugs, no dramatic exit, just quiet. She closed the door behind her. I sat alone, phone off, inbox full, heart finally flat. Not angry, not vindicated, just done. We didn't talk after that night. He must have thought a few beers and a mid-range confession could settle years of extraction. That silence would smooth the edges of a signature I never authorized. That a shared drink meant shared delusion. It didn't. I waited. And when the invitation came, I knew I'd go. Not because of them. Because of her. It was a voicemail. Her voice always had that steady gentleness, like something from a time when people still left the lights on for each other. I'd love to see you on my birthday. It's nothing big. Just cake. Come for me, not for the noise. And so I did. The apartment looked exactly how I remembered it. Same chipped porcelain swans, same plastic tablecloth, same attempt at joy. A gold 80 balloon hovered in the corner, despite her being 76. Rounding up, that's our family specialty. Look who finally decided to show up, my sister beamed, approaching in sequins and nerve. I nodded, didn't speak. Inside, my mother was already organizing chairs like she was directing grief. Dad stood by the drinks, like always, acting as if we'd just returned from war and now everything needed to be quietly fine. I took a seat, watched them buzz. They smiled like nothing happened, like silence could reset history. We made it through awkward cake prep, singing, clapping. Somehow they made her birthday feel like an intervention for me. Then, while candles were still burning and everyone was grabbing forks, I stood up. I brought gifts, I said. No wrapping paper, no bows, just a navy blue folder. I opened it. 3 envelopes. Plain. Labeled Mom, Dad, Sister. I handed them out, one by one. What is this? My mother asked, cautious. A record, I said, of what's been borrowed, with terms for return. They opened the papers. Each had their total, each weekly rate, each breakdown. Mom, $300 per week. Dad, $300 per week. Sister, $500 per week. All based on real incomes. All calculated. Fair. Clean. Pages included transfers, screenshots, payments made on behalf, gifts reclassified as debts. I'm not asking for miracles, I said. I'm just suggesting you finally learn what it feels like to contribute. My sister scoffed. This is disgusting. No, I said, still calm. Disgusting was the fake account. This is structure. Dad's face tightened. This is humiliation. I shrugged. No, this is balance. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I just placed a mirror on the table and let them look. Silence landed like a dropped glass. They stared at the invoices as if the numbers might rearrange themselves into apologies. My mother flipped her pages twice, hoping for a punchline. My father folded his neatly, like bad news deserved origami. My sister read hers aloud under her breath, then looked at me like I'd just uninvited her from her own fantasy. You seriously want us to pay you? She asked. No, I said. I seriously expect it. You're insane, she muttered. I didn't respond. Insanity doesn't print receipts. Then a slow rustle broke through the tension. Grandma. She sat at the end of the table, hands still, face unreadable. She opened her purse, that old leather thing that had survived more betrayals than the family itself, and pulled out $300 in crisp bills. She stood, walked over, placed the money on the table in front of me. I don't owe this, she said quietly, but I'll start. Because someone has to. The room froze. No one breathed. Only the faint whir of a plastic ceiling fan still turning through decades. I looked at her. Not shocked. Not moved. Just still. I picked up the cash. Walked to her. Pressed it gently back into her hands. I'm not collecting from you, I said. I'm collecting from them. Because I was the one who paid. She didn't argue. Didn't plead. Just closed her hand around the bills and nodded. My sister's mouth opened, but nothing came out. My mother looked at her own lap like guilt might be hiding in the folds of her skirt. My father finally spoke. We're family, he said. This isn't how families fix things. I looked him dead in the eye. No, this is how families stay broken. Quiet theft, loud guilt, zero math. Then I turned to Grandma. Thank you, I said, for always being the only adult in this room. I walked toward the door. They didn't stop me. Not because they didn't want to. Because they finally understood. There would be no negotiation. No last-minute hug. No whisper of "we'll figure this out." Just a folder on a table. And a silence heavy with interest. The first payment came on a Tuesday. $300 from my father. No message. Just a notification. Deposit received, John S.R. Thursday, another $300 from my mother. Friday, $500 from my sister. Right on schedule, like she had a calendar labeled redemption. No apologies. No, let's talk. Just numbers. Just silence with a bank logo. I didn't respond. Didn't acknowledge it. But I didn't stop it either. I let the money do what I had done for years. Carry weight quietly. Every week, the same pattern. The same transfers. The same silence. At first, I checked each one. Tracked it. Tallied it. Then I stopped. They weren't communications. They were corrections. I named the folder Emotional Severance. Every payment got filed, labeled, timestamped. Reimbursement for years of quiet withdrawals. No one tried to call. No one knocked on the door. Maybe they knew the door was still there. But I had taken away the key. My grandmother called once a week. Always the same time. Never dramatic. She told me about the new kettle she bought, the stray cat outside, a doctor's appointment she forgot to go to. She never asked about them. Never tried to fix anything. In the fourth week, she said, I always hoped someone in our family would grow up before everything fell apart. I smiled into the quiet. You did, I told her. I just followed your lead. I didn't move away. Didn't change my number. Didn't disappear. I stayed right where I was. Same apartment. Same grocery store. Same barista who always forgot the lid. But something had shifted. I bought a car. A new one. Not for anyone else to borrow. Just mine. I signed the paperwork and smiled when they asked. Anyone else on the title? No, I said. It's finally just me. I started cooking again. Not to stretch a meal across mouths. Just food I liked. Just enough. Leftovers that stayed in my fridge. And I slept. Deeply. Without that ache in my chest that used to whisper, you forgot something. Someone needs you. No one needed me now. They just owed me. One day, I received a letter. A real one. Handwritten. From my mother. We still love you, it said. Even if you've become cold. I flipped it over. Took a blue Sharpie. Wrote on the back. I didn't become cold. I just stopped overheating. For people who never noticed the burn. I walked it back to the mailbox. No envelope. No stamp. Just returned it like a receipt. Face up. That night, I sat on my balcony. Tea in hand. City below me, humming its usual static. Another deposit hit. $500, sister. Right on time. I didn't open the app. I just smiled. They had finally learned how to give something back. Not love. Not honesty. Just repayment. And me? I stayed. I lived. I rested. Because for the first time in my life, I had boundaries. And that made me happy.